has disappeared? It is. Yes. So you can see the screen with the images of our presenters. Yes. Lovely. Thank you. We are fortunate indeed tonight to have the opportunity to hear from three people who have made and acted on that very choice that Rick and Patel talks about, and they have made it with courage and integrity. And they'll be telling us firsthand about getting involved in civil disobedience in the fight to maintain a livable planet. I am privileged to introduce Rena Meyers-Dahlkamp, Magdalena, and Romari. And I want to tell you a little bit about each of them. Rena serves as an adult supporter of Youth versus Apocalypse and Earth Guardians Bay Area, two local youth-led climate activist organizations. An organizer, advocate, and bridge builder, Rena was recently arrested with others using creative conflict and civil disobedience to try and stop the Line 3 pipeline in Minnesota. She's an organizing member of the REO Collaborative. REO is standing for Regenerative Economies Organizing. So the REO Collaborative, which is a group that's working to shift philanthropy to better support locally rooted Black, Brown, Indigenous, and working class-led transnational movements that are building a feminist, inclusive, participatory, democratic, anti-racist, anti-colonial, and anti-capitalist future consistent with the rights of nature. Currently, only 1.3% of all philanthropic giving to address the climate crisis goes to Black, Indigenous, people of color-led organizations. Magdalena, a little bit about her. Magdalena is a Bay Area 8th grader who co-founded the Earth Guardians Bay Area crew with her brother when she was 10 years old. She loves the arts and bravely has used her paintings and dancing to disrupt board meetings to call for the California Teachers Pension Fund to divest billions from fossil fuel companies. You might also recognize Magdalena from the 2019 video that went viral when students asked Senator Feinstein to support the Green New Deal. And Romari. Romari is a Bay Area 9th grader who constantly lifts up the message that it's not okay that life expectancy varies by where you live. He has spoken for climate justice to crowds throughout the Bay Area and Sacramento and organizes his neighbors to advocate against environmental racism. Since age 11, Romari has been occupying investment committee board meetings of the California Teachers Pension Fund, demanding that over $6 billion be divested from fossil fuels. We are so fortunate to have you with us. Rena, Magdalena, and Romari, it's yours.
Hi, thank you all so much for that introduction and for welcoming us. Just wanted to start out, as you shared, my name is Rena, and I've been incredibly humbled to have the opportunity to be a parent and an adult supporter within this movement and just witness up close the creativity, the sacrifice, the ability of what they bring. And as an organizer myself, I know the things that I kind of think, oh, this would work. I have to bite my tongue a lot because what they're bringing is exactly what this time needs right now. And it's been just really important for me to learn how to discipline myself to listen, to follow who's most impacted by all this. And I just want to, what we're going to do is lift up, just in the short time we have, 3 lessons that we've learned in this work, and we'll be focusing around the CalSTRS campaign, which is the Teachers Pension Fund that you mentioned, as well as I'll share a little bit about my time in Minnesota, and I'm always happy to reach one-on-one, particularly around the intimacy of what it means to risk arrest and be in jail and some of those pieces. So we'll share it, also a one-pager with some resources of ways people can plug in and also how to be in touch following up. I'd like to just share my screen to start with a little piece here. Let's see. I was really thankful that Dean, one of the organizers of tonight's gathering, shared that just last week, this article was put out by the Indigenous Environmental Network, worked on a study that showed in the last 10 years, with the actions of Indigenous-led work against 21 pipelines, the equivalent of 400 new coal-fired power plants, the emission that would be equivalent to that has been stopped. So for those that say, oh, you don't get enough media, or what's the point to shut down business for a day or even an hour, like the testament to this and the science that they put together to make these calculations are really important. So just want to honor all those that are continuously on the front lines and working for this resistance. And then the next piece I wanted to use this time to lift up is Segorite Land Trust is here for those of you in the Bay Area. And I really believe that civil disobedience can look in many ways, but for us and our family and people that we're in community with, really rooting it at your home is core. So there's an invitation to pay what's called the Shumi land tax that really recognizes that we are on stolen land and we are all benefiting if we are non-native from the genocide and atrocities that Ohlone and all Indigenous community members have experienced on this stolen land. So again, on this resource page, there'll be some details about how to do that. And I think it's also a very strong form of we are being disobedient to follow the narrative that we've been taught and are asked to often perpetuate. And with that, I would love just to share a little bit about the 3 lessons, and then we'll have a little video about what these amazing youth have been doing. Or Mari, would you start us off?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Amari, 14 years old. Been with YVA for 4 years now. Been with the Earth Guardians for about almost 3.5. I got into climate activism and all of that just because of my creative writing teacher, Miss Carolyn. She's an adult coordinator with YVA. She introduced me to the whole idea of just climate activism in general. And ever since then, I've been the uplifting person I am today. So the lesson that's been really clear to us is that we need more people. We need more people, not just to come and support actions, but we need more people to come to our peaceful and nonviolent actions, to be willing to risk arrest or detainment. So sometimes when we're leading a nonviolent protest, the police will show up, start harassing people, and really being really disrespectful to some of the African American and Latino or any brown youth or adults that just show up to show their support. And I'm really appalled at the idea that they think it's right just to treat us that way. And we just need people that are willing to take the risk of just being detained at these actions, even though we always plan to keep it peaceful, all about the peace. We never try to take it violent anywhere. They just feel they have the need and they have the authority just to force us to be calm when we are already being calm, sort of as their way of just trying to keep us in line. Mm-hmm. And we also really need help with coming to actions for the press. See, the news outlets never really cover us unless it's big, it's disruptive, it's dramatic. So kind of like the climate strikes. At each climate strike, all the news outlets were there. They would always just show up. They would always show up, interview us. They'd interview some of the youth, some of the adults. They'd show up and film part of the marches. But the marches and the climate strikes, that's not all just what we do. We also host fundraisers, not small rallies, but we do get a really big turnout for the rallies. And we are just hoping that with your help and with more people coming to some of the smaller actions, they can have some of the same media feedback as the climate strikes. Mm-hmm. And the last point I want to bring up while it's my turn to speak is that we need more people, because we need just more people because some of the youth like me and Maddie, we are transitioning back to in-person school. I myself am a 9th grader going to Skyline High. Maddie is in 8th, and just switching back into regular school is a little challenging. Having to deal with actual homework, tests, multiple classes each day. And it's just been really tough. And over the summer, transitioning out of 8th grade, going into 9th, it's been really tough because I haven't been able to attend many YVA or Earth Guardian actions, and I just been feeling really guilty ever since then because I really wanted to, but a lot of stuff was holding me from not being able to, whether it being me having to stay home to take care of my little siblings if they were feeling sick, me having to take care of my mother after she had gotten her vaccine, or me just having to stay home and prepare myself to getting ready for high school. And that's why we're asking for more help from adults and just anybody willing, because the youth won't always be able to be there and be at every action. But we're not just asking for you to be there when we're not able to be there. We're asking you to be there for when we are and aren't there. Thank you.
Thank you, Amari. Magdalena, do you want to share next?
Hello, everybody. As you can probably tell, I'm a little nervous. My name is Magdalena. Thank you for coming out today. I know it's a late night and it means a lot because you could be with your family, could be doing something else, but you choose to be here instead. I use she, her pronouns. I am 13, and I started being an active part of the climate justice movement when I was like 9.5, I would say. One of the disruptions we've been doing at CalSTRS, which is the Teachers Pension Fund, which is investing over $6 billion in fossil fuels, if you weren't aware. And one of the actions we did was a dance. And so when we were planning for this dance, we did a couple things. We thought about privilege as one thing, is because, as you can see, I'm a white girl. So I decided to do the dance because I know if, when a Black girl did the dance, it would be a very different situation because of the racism and the police seeing her differently than me. And what we did is we put together a Greta speech and some beats, and when she was crying about the urgency and about the neglect she was feeling from the people in power. And I also learned, and that was like a really big moment for us because, it took a lot of courage to go up there, and, I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't know if I was up to it, but I knew that I should do it and that it was a really important thing to be done. And so, yeah, we just put music up and we put a banner down and did it. And it stopped the meeting for over 2 hours. And so I think that really teaches us that no matter your age, no matter how big or small you are, you can really make a difference and you can really inspire people. We also learned that CalSTRS is invested in, as well as many other companies such as Shell, Chevron, all these big Exxon, thank you. Thank you. They're invested in Enbridge, which is, you probably know, is, making a really bad pipeline through Anishinaabe land in Minnesota. And when I learned this, it was just really scary because people were in the snow, people were cold, people were facing police, and I felt like, dang, why is this happening, So me and my family went up to Minnesota this summer, and they had to, and it was led by a really beautiful Indigenous couple, the camp we were at, named Roy and Sasha, and they had to sacrifice so much every single day, cooking in a tent and living and having storms blow their tents down, people cussing them out as they drive by, hate from locals around the town, cops coming, all these things that just made it hard to just be and to be in prayer and to be for the right cause. And it was also a ceremonial camp. So there was sweat lodges a lot. And I've never been in a sweat lodge before. But one of the main things Roy and Sasha would talk about in the sweat lodge is sacrifice is sacred. And what I took away from this is, even though I was sweating, even though I was uncomfortable, I was tired, I was thirsty, we had to do it for ourselves and for the people around us. And I think that teaches us in the bigger scheme is, we might not want to go out to an action, and we might have other priorities that day, and we might not want to face arrest, but we know that over the big picture, it really is impactful. And yeah, I would really love you to step out, make that next step if you feel okay with that. And that doesn't have to look like going to arrest, and arrest can look like many different things, but that also just means like doing what's necessary to have a just future, to have a safe future. So I hope this really hits home for you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to continue on with some of the lessons, I'm going to move this a little bit there, so sacrifice is sacred. We need many more people to get the press to come out to make safety for those that are on the front lines and being targeted, as Romari was speaking about. I've witnessed really, really horrible things here and in Minnesota about really blatantly just going after who the leaders are. Obviously, that's an expected one. And also just, it could be a crowd of mostly white folks, and they're going to pick the few folks of color and just keep going and keep going. We have a young friend who's 18 and native in Minnesota, who's holding felony charges right now against him. And I just watched targeting after targeting after targeting. It's allegedly for making some holes in a cloth fence between the bridge. They were able to trump up these charges. And so I just over and over and over again, they would continue to go after him. So the point I want to lift up as a lesson we learned is we need a lot more older white bodies in jail. That's a big request, is filling up. The place I was in Minnesota, it was a mostly white community. And if you looked at the roster of who was in custody, majority of folks in color. We know about the evils of the system. We know about the racism and watching it intimately in the day and what it looks like for water protectors and other activists, as well as just in community. And there's a lot of young folks that don't, to get a public defender, you need to qualify for a public defender. It's your income needs to be like less than 12,000 in some of those situations. And most of the folks that I was arrested with qualify for that. So there's economics, and once those charges are on for folks, it's a lot once you get involved in that system. So more resourced folks that are willing to go and put their body to protect and to make the large, bold ones is the piece, because not everyone experiences arrest the same. I could go through some really intense things I witnessed, but because all our trials are open, I'm not going to share anything here in public around that, but appalling, blatant pieces. And so that was the request, is like, when things happen, is like, hey, white folks, where is your line of protection? Where's your triple line of protection? And what is it? And what does that mean? And like, I don't know, there's so much that was really, really important. For the CalSTRS piece, we do see it. None of the things we've done at this point have been like planned to risk arrest, but it's escalating with the big celebration of Harvard divesting. I don't know if y'all heard that last week. Like, the game is moving fast, and we really believe with CalSTRS, it's the second largest pension fund in the country. CalPERS in California with other public employees is number one. So California is really a place to watch globally around this. And we want to escalate. And we're putting out this vision of like, are there 100 retired teachers that are ready to risk arrest, and their friends or their partners, like, what would it look like to creatively organize something with those bodies, and that would be willing to be detained for a bit and sacrifice in that sacred way. And yeah, I think I need to pause there. There's so much I could share about line 3. And if anyone's considering going out, would love to have one-on-one talks, or if you want to know just like where you even need to go in yourself to kind of hold that ground, because it is very intimidating when they start coming with that riot gear. It's so intentional. It's so manipulated in every single thing. Like, once you're in jail, you don't have a sense of time of day, or like, the light sometimes could be on 24/7. You can't see the outside. You don't know. I mean, it's just very disorienting. It can definitely break you, and you wonder, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Even with me as the safety, as a white mom with resources that could, bail me out. So if that's something that's holding you back, I would just love to have a Zoom cup of tea or something with you. And then I just want to close with honoring a little bit of all the youth that make all these things happen all the time. So I'm going to share my screen again, because there are so many who Ramari and Magdalena represent who are super busy. Oh, I just want to leave this one up again. Sacrifice is sacred, more people are needed, and other white bodies are needed to fill jails. Just as a little summary. And so this piece is a 6-minute clip of just a collection of pieces related to CalSTRS investments and actions we've done in Sacramento, the Bay, and then some solidarity actions people have done in Minnesota and other places.
Almost every place that extracts, processes, or transports fossil fuels are located in communities that are predominantly Black and brown and working class. My people, my community.
You to stop trying to make money from fossil fuels.
I'm a 6th grader at Urban Promise Academy that skipped school because of this event. Those fossil fuels that they're investing on are making climate change effects worse and are causing our generation's lives in danger.
It's a message telling the youth that we don't really care for our future, and it contradicts exactly what a future is. I went to the anti-defense office with about 20 youth.
I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing.
They still haven't took action yet. They say that we're just a kid and that this is adult business, and it doesn't matter what I say or do. But guess what? It does. So many kids like me are walking out of school addressing the big corporations and the government about how important it is to talk about and fix climate change. This isn't just climate change. This is climate chaos. This isn't global warming anymore. This is global catastrophe. Keep this in mind. The future has its eyes on you. Because there won't be no air, only coal to breathe.
Okay, so I'm going to have to use my teacher voice now. I know some people will not be pleased with this
because they want to help children. They want to help the students. And the teachers want to help their students improve on things. They want them to learn, not spend money, not teach. And then the money that they work for will be invested in fossil fuels. You are killing everyone. We have to take action now. In the 5 to 10 years, if we don't take action, it will be too late. You either choose which side you on. Us or just talking. Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on?
How dare you?
Excuse me? You're going to need to step back here. This is an unauthorized area. Okay? Let's just step back here.
I'm one of the documents. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? And you will be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
I am.
So we're here today, both to grieve the fact that we have to stay in this fight and that the government so far of this state has not shown up to support us, particularly Governor Walz. But we're also here today to recommit our resolve to each other because Line 3 will never be built in Minnesota. Will never be built in Minnesota because we together are going to stop this pipeline.
Hi y'all, my name's Emma and I'm outside of a Chase Bank in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Chase is one of the largest funders of climate change in the world and a huge financier of the Line 3 tar sands pipeline, which has been long opposed in the state of Minnesota. And we are here today doing just like an easy art tactic. We left some art by a comrade of mine calling out Chase's investments in tar sands. A banner drop like this can help like raise consciousness about tar sands infrastructure investments wherever you are. So a great way to stand in solidarity with water protectors is to take some art to your local Chase and try to like talk to people about the way that their bank is investing in fossil fuels.
BlackRock is the world's largest investor in coal companies, coal-fired utilities, oil and gas companies, and companies driving deforestation. Do you hear me, BlackRock? You are making money off the destruction of the planet and the oppression of the people.
Divest from deforestation.
Divest from deforestation.
Divest from private prisons.
Divest from private prisons.
Divest from detention centers.
Divest from detention centers.
Divest from destruction.
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 Yeah. Okay. So now we just would, I'm going to drop in the chat that resource page I mentioned, and we'd love to open it up for Q&A.
Thank you all. Well, I don't know, have you dropped in the chat yet, Rena? Yeah. Thank you all so much. So moving. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, I just said thank you because someone says in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, really very moving. I would like to pose a question. One of the things that I struggle with is, as an older person, wanting to be supportive of youth organized and youth-led climate action work, is how to do that in a way that that feels right for you. I'm sure I'm not alone among those of us in this crowd tonight who are older, that we feel keenly our responsibility for having contributed knowingly, unknowingly to the mess that we're in terms of climate change. And it's very important to be respectful of the youth-led and youth-organized action. So, I mean, it was really interesting to me to hear that, yeah, you know, we want you to show up for actions. I mean, if there were only older folks at an action because y'all are in school, you have these other responsibilities. It didn't even occur to me that that would be okay with you. It honestly did not. I thought that it would be like I was appropriating your event, you know, or just that it wasn't, you know, it wasn't being respectful in the right way. So I would love to hear your comments on that. And then I can see there are a lot of hands up. We're probably going to have more questions than there's time for, but go ahead. I would love to hear what you have to say.
Well, we may be a youth-led cause, but we always appreciate help from adults. Like the 1,000 grandmothers. We really love all the support we get from them. The people at Sunrise, and a lot of the folks from what's the name of their group?
Diablo Rising
Tide.
Yeah, they always turn out amazing ways.
Yeah. And we always appreciate the support they give us during our actions, because I guess they always see it in the light as, wow, these are like really young kids doing exactly what we do, but they're doing it way big. We should go support.
Thank you for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think just like, I think one thing is like show up, but like check in with the youth leaders to ask like how they want you to help, but definitely show up because we always need more support, especially adult coordination. So yeah.
Thank you.
I just saw the question in the chat too. The name of their organization is Youth versus Apocalypse. It's on the resource page, and Earth Guardians. So you'll see a link if you want to financially contribute. That's a way always. It's appreciated too.
Thank you. Rena, I see you have a question.
I have a comment. I just want to say thank you to all three of you. And Ramuri, I wanted to say thank you for doing the things you're doing right now to take care of yourself. I know that sometimes when you have family obligations or school, it feels like it's taking you away from this. But I feel that if you don't take care of your family and your obligations first, you get burnt out. And then you're not really able to do this for the long term. And so by taking care of those things, you might not be in it for the moment, but you'll still be there next year and the year after. And that's great.
I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate the love you just sent my way. And you're right, because the burnout is real. Because the further you push yourself, the less further you're able to go.
Thank you. Lisa Jackson.
Oh, I had a question, which is more to do with how do you perceive the work that you're doing, and what's filled you with hope recently? The Harvard announcement was pretty big, but what do you see that is hopeful for you? You know, as you look at the future.
You guys want to go?
Can I start?
Yeah.
I feel like what helps me is especially like all the friendships that I have made, those really give me joy when I go to Inaction or just in general. I also like to bring my art into it, which really helps me. And I think something that's giving me hope is just seeing more awareness about it. And yeah, I feel like people are starting to wake up, and that's really great.
Yeah. Something that gives me like hope, not just today or any other day, but like every day, is my little cousin Kamari. My little cousin Kamari, he was born with asthma just like me. I see him struggle with it, and I constantly let him know what to do if he ever just feels like he's gonna like start feeling hurt in his chest. He's only 4 years old and he has asthma a little similar to mine. And one day I was over at my uncle's house babysitting him. I had a slight asthma attack while playing with him. He's very energetic. We like to run around. I had a slight asthma attack, and he knew exactly what to do, and I was so proud of him. He went upstairs and grabbed the extra inhaler my uncle keeps for both him and me. He gave it to me, and then I was able to finally catch my breath and call my uncle so I could let him know that I had an attack. And I was just so proud that my little cousin was so at such a young age, at only 4 years old, knew exactly what to do to help me out. And I'm just that just gives me hope every day to know that back then my parents looked at me that way, and now I can look at my little cousin that way.
Thank you. Dean.
Actually, I think that's just my hand up from previous, but I'll think of a question real quick. I guess I was just wondering if we show up. I mean, when I watched the video, it was so impressive, and I think it's because of your creativity and the fact that you're young. I mean, we have to admit it, that it's unusual. Certainly, what you're doing, it draws attention. It calls real attention to the crisis we're facing. Do you worry that we old folks are just going to gum it up by being there? And, we're not as exciting. If sure, you see 50 old white people in jail. I don't know. That's interesting for a minute, but it's not that interesting. And so we're there, obviously, to listen to you and stay in the background and do what you need. but I wonder if you worry at all that we dampen the limelight that you guys are creating and the story that you are telling.
Yeah. No. You guys wouldn't mess anything up at all. We constantly have speaking roles from the 1,000 grandmothers. They're always so lively. They bring like so much energy to every action they come to. A lot of food too. But yeah, so and then we have the adults from Sunrise, and then we have some of the some of the adults from the Earth Guardians, like Miss Rena. She's always there helping out, not only like holding signs, making banners, but she's constantly speaking at actions as well.
And I think if I could just add to Dean, the question that you're even holding and the humility is what it is. It's like, and also for not being Indigenous and being in Indigenous resistance camps, it's like, come in a good way. Like just knowing, check your ego at the door was one of the signs, or at the gate, and so I think when people come in, it is about numbers, and it encourages folks to not feel a burnout. And Magdalena, like, this has been forever. I'll be tired. We know there's an action happening. It's like end of the day, or it's the weekend. And I'll just say, oh, she's like, but Mom, if everyone didn't go because they're tired, there wouldn't be an action. And I think holding that space, even if it's like, I don't know, like, and there's shirts that say supporter of What Youth Versus Apocalypse. Like, you can clearly identify yourself. You can lift up their name. You can share in your social media pictures you're taking. All of that helps amplify. And because I think what you shared earlier is like, the force that we are up is so well funded. We need every little bit we can. So yeah, and if someone, I think it's also about not sacrifice is sacred, is like, be okay making a mistake, and like, and having someone come and say, hey, that wasn't cool, and that happens too, and then own that responsibility and share your lessons, especially as a white person in these spaces, whereas you saw most of the youth are youth of color. Immigration status is really vulnerable, but they're up there taking that risk, being out. So it's just, I think, yeah, be willing to get messy and build relationship. And it's so rewarding in that way too. But most importantly, more than inspiring, is just to recognize, like, let's give these folks a break and just make their, lift it up so all that effort actually gets to go to the power it should be, and reach the places it should be.
Thank you. Thank you all. You've given us so much to think about. And to reflect on, and to figure out how we can get more into the game, and stand side by side with you and support you. So thank you all for being so generous with sharing your perspectives and your insights. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. We are just about at the top of the hour, so let me just do a little
Good morning to you.
I have one more slide to show here. This is about our next program. So again, I'm hoping, whoops. I am still finding my way with Zoom here. Can y'all see the final slide, or do I need to take another pass at that? You can't, you're not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
We saw it for 1 second.
It was there. It was, whoosh. All right. You know what? I'm just going to talk this through. So again, on behalf of everyone who's here, thanks so much, Magdalena and Romari and Rena, for joining us. And I hope that everyone is walking away, sparked with some thoughts about what can we do to engage in civil disobedience, or step up in terms of our support for civil disobedience. And with anyone who has questions, again, Rena had mentioned, any of our sponsors and Rena can help any of us with getting more involved. Our Green Sofa Cinema series will continue next on Wednesday, October 27th. We'll have a discussion of a film about vertical farming and a talk by award-winning chef and local teacher Cindy Gershon, the founder of Sunrise Bistro here in Walnut Creek. So please keep an eye out for details on the Green Sofa Cinema Series Facebook page, and we'll be doing email blasts too. So thanks again, everyone, for joining tonight. Much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care.
Thank you.